Josh is out of town. I'm not exactly sure where he's at, but we gotta keep the show going. So, first of all, how are you guys doing? We've got a chat going on, so if you have questions, thoughts, or concerns, you can field those over to Addison. Say hi, Addison.
Hey, Addison. Hey, everybody.
And we are going to talk about synthesizer guitar pedals. I did a little research this morning because I was like, what is the deal with synthesizer guitar pedals? Why do we have them? And I found a really cool mini documentary that Reverb did about the ARP 2600. And I stumbled across something really interesting in there. Our good friend Pete Townsend from the band The Who plugged his guitar straight into the ARP 2600 on the song Who Are You? That synthesizer sound that you hear at the beginning is not keys, it is actually his guitar plugged straight into the ARP 2600, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if he's the first person to plug a guitar into a synthesizer, but that song is huge, and so maybe I could say with confidence that it is one of the most impactful earliest moments of guitar running through synthesizer. So you can see in this picture, you can see Pete doing his thing in the top right. You can see the ARP 2600, and in the bottom right-hand corner, this is an ad. Pete sent this photo to some music stores to create an ad basically saying like, hey, The Who uses synthesizers, you should too. I think it's really interesting, the relationship between synthesizers and guitar. I actually had a fun conversation with my dear old dad this morning. He's not old. He is dear though. About the uprising of synthesizers in the 80s and their relationship with guitar players. And I asked my dad, I was like, was there animosity between synthesizer keyboard players and guitar players? And before I could even finish my sentence, he was like, absolutely. There was a lot of tension between electric guitar players in the 80s and keyboard players because all of a sudden you had these guys that were like, I don't need you. I can play these electric guitar parts on a synthesizer, no problem. I can be the drummer. I can be the bass player. And so there's this interesting new spin in the evolution of music where now keyboard players can be the rock gods, and all these rock god guitar players are like, well, this isn't fair. How come the nerds that learned how to play piano get to rise to fame now? And I think it's a really interesting development. Speaking of fame, one of the first times I kind of ever thought about this was I was watching an episode of the show Fame at my parents' house. I've only ever seen one episode, but I want to play a clip that kind of illustrates this idea. And this is one of the students talking to one of the teachers about how we don't need string instruments anymore. We got synthesizers. So I'm going to play it. Enjoy.
You don't need strings today.
Orchestras need strings.
Orchestras are an endangered species. Really, you can do it all on one instrument. If you've got a keyboard and some oscillators and the right combination of waveforms, you wouldn't need to make all these dinosaur tracks.
Dinosaur tracks. Mozart made dinosaur tracks. You should make such dinosaur tracks.
He wouldn't orchestrate today. He'd overdub.
Oops. There you go. Yeah, I think that last line is hilarious. It's like Mozart, he wouldn't orchestrate, he would overdub. And it's a good little peek into the 80s and how synthesizers were becoming this hot commodity, and they were kind of, I think with any technology, you see people getting really excited to the point where they're like, oh, this is going to replace strings. We're not going to have stringed instruments anymore. We're just going to all play keyboards, which is, as we know, not exactly how it went. I think there's a little less animosity between keyboard players and guitar players now, but at the time when synths were becoming more accessible, there was a little bit of tension. Having said all that, let's get into some synth pedals. let's go to the pedal cam here. The first one we're going to check out is the Space Station XP300 by Digitech. This pedal is pretty cool. As far as I know, I don't know that these did super well when they first came out, but they're very interesting. You would think that these two buttons would toggle up and down through the numbers, but actually this is the button that toggles through. You actually have to hold it to go backwards, which is kind of interesting, and this button bypasses and turns it into a tuner. So that's, you know, a little bit of a downside to it, but it has a lot of cool sounds. So let's take a listen to them. I think it sounds like some kind of angel space battle. So basically the way that this is lined out, numbers 1 through 9 are synth sounds, 10 through 19 are a category called warp, 20 through 29 are alien, and 30 through 39 are sonic. Let's check out some warp sounds. Let's go to number 16 here. Oops, now I gotta go back, so I have to hold this. There we go. This sounds like, Addison, have you ever played Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Yes. It sounds like
What's that
the
sound
Sonic
from?
jump sound.
Okay.
Like, I don't really know how I would incorporate this into, because there's not really like a note. Kind of.
Enough.
There we go. That's a little bit more. I think this this rocker pedal kind of adds different effects to each sound. Okay, so in the down position, it goes up. In the down position, I think it goes down. Toe down. Or maybe it's a pitch or something. So that's pretty cool. Let's check out Alien, because that's what you all really want to hear, the Alien sound effects.
That's what I want to hear.
Yes. Let's do. See, this is where the toe pedal becomes really cool.
Ooh.
Like, I could totally get down with this sound.
I expect that on your next song.
That feels pretty useful to me. I would totally use this. Oh, I have some other pedals here. We've got the JHS Mini Foot Fuzz and the Bonsai. So there's that. I'm going to use these on and off while we're playing, just in case I need a little drive. And then we have the DeadBeat. Let's see, this is the Echolation station and the Modulation station. These are fantastic pedals. If you are wanting to get a modulation pedal or an echo pedal or delay and you don't know what you want, these are extremely affordable and it lets you try a lot of stuff out. So I would highly recommend the DeadBeat Echolation station and the Modulation station. There's also a reverberation station, but these are my favorite. Anyway, moving on, back to the Space Station, because that's why we're here. Let's check out the sonic sounds. I don't remember. I went through these earlier. I don't remember what sonic sounds were. I kind of felt like the warp sounds were sonic sounds. That's bizarre. Ooh, what's this? Weird. I want to go back to the alien sounds really quick. I think I was missing out on a couple things. Yeah, here. This is okay. I'm glad I went back. Here we go.
Now we're to the fun.
I think this might be one of my favorite sounds on this thing. It's just weird.
What would you call this?
What would I call this sound?
What's it doing?
Sorry, Addison. Say that again.
What would you call this sound, Nick? What's it doing?
I would call it like computer daydream.
Ooh.
If I were to name it, I would call it the computer's daydream. Yes.
Nice.
That's what I'm calling. All right. I think that's enough from the space station. It's a cool pedal. Fantastic sounds. There's some cool stuff in there. You could spend quite a long time messing around with that. Let's switch pedals. Let's see what we got coming up now. Oh, what's that? What was that? Oh, the light bulb. The light bulb is telling us we've got some questions. What kind of questions do we got coming in here, Addison?
Well, yesterday we posted and we asked on our Patreon page if anybody had any questions specific to synth pedals and guitars and things like that. And so I just wanted to answer one of those questions. I think this is a good maybe basis for this. Matthew Jemmett, shout out. Thanks for being a patron. You asked, what makes a synth pedal? Aren't most pedals effect pedals, and can't they be used on anything? What do you think about that, Nick?
So, is he asking what separates a synth pedal and like just a regular effect pedal?
Yeah. Or like, some company might call it like, oh, this is a synth pedal for your guitar. But he's saying, couldn't you use a synth pedal on a synth? I think that's kind of what he's getting at.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we were kind of discussing this earlier. Like, essentially, you are kind of creating like these little mini synth modules. But I think a lot of times, at least this is my impression, is that when people are designing these, they're kind of keeping in mind like that the way that the guitar operates and the kind of signal it outputs and the fact that it is strings and it's not fully perfect and the attack is probably different. They're probably keeping some of those things in mind, I would imagine. I actually tried, so believe it or not, believe it because it's true.
I'm going to believe it.
Yesterday, I filmed an episode called Pedals for Synthesizer. So it's like the opposite of what we're doing right now. And I actually used like a couple emulating, like the Mel 9 and the couple like Electro-Harmonix pedals, just to be like, what would it be like if I put keyboards through a pedal that was supposed to emulate keyboards? It kind of, honestly, my initial reaction was there was some, I don't know, attributes of the sound that just didn't totally feel like it fit with how a synthesizer usually like reacts.
Got it.
And I'm wondering if that has to do, and like, don't quote me on this because I really don't know for sure.
Wouldn't dare.
But I think it might have to do with that these pedals are kind of designed for the guitar in mind as far as like what's going into it. If that makes sense.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that feel like a satisfying answer?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
like what you're feeding it largely depends on the
Yeah.
outcome of, and maybe they're developing a pedal for pedals or guitars to be fed into. Yeah, I'm just reiterating what you're saying.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
Hear that.
Next up, we've got the Fooz by Seymour Duncan. This is a crazy, it says it's an analog fuzz synthesizer. This is one of those you could like spend a long time tweaking the knobs and stuff, but let's check it out. There's some cool stuff. There's a fuzz section, a filter section, and then there is a tremolo sort of section up here. And you have a sensitivity knob that's sort of I'm actually not exactly sure technically how this works, but you can turn the trem on and off with this switch. I'm going to turn it on because it's cool. I'm gonna put a little delay on there. Yeah, it's a cool combo. I think it's a fun, like, this does what like 3 different pedals, you need 3 different pedals to do together. This kind of puts all those things in one and gives you some fun synthesizer sounding kind of step sequence sort of things. It's very, very, very cool. Let's jump onto another pedal here.
Nick, who makes that pedal?
Seymour Duncan.
Whoa, okay. That's cool.
Yes, it's very
Nice.
cool.
Nice.
This is, oh, it also has, here, I'll show this. It has like a bazillion toggles on the back, like these dip switches. And this right here is where my head kind of explodes, because you can do all kinds of customization by flipping these on and off, and it allows you to affect different things. But to be honest, I just kind of like plugging in pedals and playing them as they are. All right.
While you're switching, pretty cool comment from Scott from Baltimore. He says, I played with an ARP in college class. Great thing. Plugged a guitar into it as well, but I didn't know that Townsend did it. So, Scott,
oh, cool.
way to go. And
That
Nick,
is very cool.
way to teach us things that we didn't know.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
I had no idea. Like, it's funny because it kind of, I mean, I don't know if he was the first person, but it seems kind of like maybe the first synthesizer pedal for guitar was actually, I mean, the ARP 2600.
Got it.
I mean, I guess it's not a pedal, but it's creating synthesizer-like sounds by using the guitar.
Okay, now here's a question for
Gotcha.
you. Piggybacking off that. This is from Alice, Sweet Alice, from Patreon.
Okay.
What came first, the synth or the pedal?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Tough question to
It's
answer.
a question that I feel like we should all answer for ourselves. I'm sure that there is a definitive answer. It's interesting because one of the things looking into synthesizers, I did a little bit of research, like I said this morning. Like the Reverb documentary is incredible. You should go check that out. It's really cool. One of the interesting things is that, like, at one point, synthesizers were kind of like a tool for academics. That it was like almost like they weren't kind of like how sound engineers used to be like guys in lab coats. It was like people that messed around with synthesizers weren't nerds in basements. They were like college professors and stuff. It wasn't until a little bit later where they were like, hey, what if we, instead of this being like an entire room of switches and things, what if we made this more accessible? Once people like, you know, Keith Richards and, you know, people started using synthesizers on their albums, it became a thing where people wanted that sound in a more accessible way. But that is a good question. I don't know.
More of a rhetorical, maybe.
Yeah.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? We don't know.
It could have been similar, like same time.
Yeah.
Who knows? Somebody does, though.
Someone does. Do you think Josh knows?
Maybe. If
Josh, are you
was
on this
here.
live chat?
Is Josh on the chat?
I don't see Josh.
All right. This next one is the Keeley Synth 1. This is a very cool one. I like this. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Throw a little modulation on there. So we got a couple knobs on here. Let's look at these. We got a blend. So there's my not synth 1 sound. There is just the synth 1 sound. Let's do something in between here. And then we've got attack. Hold on. And then the filter is messing with some pitch stuff.
That's cool.
That's a cool sound. That's kind of wild, the way it ducks in and out like that. It's a little like, it feels a little unpredictable, but I kind of like it. It can also change the waveform, which is cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff from Keeley. Way to go.
Way to go, Keeley.
Way to go, Keeley. Let's switch it out.
Nice. Here's another question from patron Santiago Bondoni. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but I thought this was a cool question. For those of us who are perhaps synth pedal sound novices, what pairing between maybe 2 or more non-synth type effects could you blend together in order to achieve synth-like sounds? Lots of quotation marks.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat. I kind of feel like I'm a synth pedal novice.
Nice.
But I would say fuzz, octave, anything octave.
Yeah.
I think you could achieve some cool synth type sounds with fuzz pedal and octave and like a freeze pedal. The Electro-Harmonix freeze pedal makes some sustained pad sort of sounds. I've done that in the past before, which is really fun. Like give your that sustained pedal sort of vibe. Yeah, that would be cool. I think if you're going to get synth pedals, you should also have some kind of modulation, like a chorus. A lot of like those old synths have some kind of modulation, or if not that, like that retro synth sound, you're hearing it off of tape. So you're hearing warble from that, which is like, you know, when we listen to like the Stranger Things soundtrack, that retro vibe is that modulation, that tape warble, which is really, really cool. That's cool. So I like having I've enjoyed playing these with a little bit of chorus on them. I think it just adds to the vibe. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Let's do this Boss SY1. This
Ooh.
is a really powerful machine, and the sequence setting, that's what I have it on right here, it feels like effortless what it does. And instead of talking about it, I'm just going to show you because that's why you're here. Let's just listen to. So this is like, I think it's a dual pot. That's what you'd call it, maybe. In the middle, you can do the effect blend and then the direct. So you can kind of adjust how much of the affected sound is in there and how much the regular, just direct, dry sound is in there. And then the second knob here in the middle is the tone or rate. And then there's a depth knob as well. And then each of these sounds, so there's, let me rattle these off. There's lead, pad, bass, strings, organ, bell, Fs, FX, so sound effects, and sequencer. And each sound has 11 different sounds within that sound, if that makes sense. So there's a dial here that toggles through 11 different sequencer sounds, 11 different organ sounds, all that kind of stuff. So it's very, very, very jam-packed, and it feels really effortless to use. So I really like the sequencer. Let me toggle through a couple of these. Let's do... Now we've got the opposite of what was happening in the 80s. Now the guitar players with this pedal can be like, now I don't need the synth player anymore. Because there's a, I mean, you walk into a gig with this and you say, listen, Winston, we don't, listen, all your freaking keys stuff is just, it takes like forever to set up. And it's just like, our load-in time has tripled since we hired you. But I bought the SY1 and I can kind of do a bunch of that stuff.
I mean, you saw me looking at you when you started making that last sound there.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
It's pretty cool. Let's check out a couple of these settings. I could stay on the sequence setting forever just because it truly, truly is just, it's very impressive. It just feels like I don't feel like I'm fighting it at all. It's happening pretty I feel like sometimes with synthesizer pedals, you're wanting it to feel as effortless as a synth. What was that? What happened? Uh-oh.
What?
Are we getting a question?
What are you talking about? Yes.
Was the
this
bulb is the bulb freaking out?
Is it? Is it freaking out?
Uh-oh.
I think
We
it
got a
might
question.
be.
All right.
Uh-oh. Yep. This
Question.
one comes from a Patreon patron as well, but it's a very important question. Where do you put this in your chain? Before compression? Before your wah pedal? After? I kind of want to know myself. Where the heck do you put these pedals, Nick?
Right now I'm putting this one in between my drives and fuzz, so you can see here I have the fuzz and the overdrive. So it's fuzz, overdrive, synth pedal, and then I have delays and modulation.
Nice.
That kind of is what made sense to me. But I will say that that's just because that's what I've tried so far.
Nice.
It would be really interesting to see what this feels like at the end of a chain. It might be a little messy.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of being able to overdrive into it, but it could be interesting to see what like putting a drive on the backside would be. I think one of the reasons why putting like an overdrive before it is cool because you have these blends, so you can blend your dry signal, and I feel like, I don't know, I just have to try it.
Yeah.
I would just try a bunch of stuff. If you
Nice.
have an SY1 or one of these pedals, you just gotta flip them around and try different things.
Give it a go.
I don't know if there's a right answer. There might be a wrong answer, but I don't know if there's a right one.
Hey. That was deep.
It was. Ooh, there we go. There's so many cool things in here. We could probably spend the whole time just playing around with this, but the synthesizer, that word is becoming increasingly harder to say.
It will continue to.
I think it's only going to get worse.
Hey, a lot of people are curious to know, like, could you do some like single note lead line sort
yeah.
of vibes with that pedal in particular?
Totally.
This one's popular. Everybody's like, I love that pedal. I love that pedal.
It's super cool.
And Diego 2112 Gaming, you said this pedal has it all: modulation, oscillators, the works. If you want a synth pedal, that's the one to snag. That's good advice. Thanks for that advice, Diego. I'm imagining that you have one yourself, so that's very cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's super cool. There's certain sounds I think that handle single note stuff better than others.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can go wrong with this pedal. It's just
agree.
a super inspiring piece of machinery.
Way to go, boss. You did it again.
Way to go. Can't go wrong with boss. All right, next up is the ever popular Synth 9 pedal from Electro-Harmonix. This is the most straightforward one of the bunch that I've played. It literally is just like, here's some synths, let's play them on guitar. There's not like a whole lot of fuss with this one. You can do, it's got, let's see, we got 9 settings. OBX Prophet, Vibe Synth, Mini Mood, EHX Mini Solo Synth, Mood Bass, String Synth, Poly 6. So let's toggle through these, give some of them some love. Oh, tuner's on. Actually, you know what? Let's tune, because that is good. Got any questions while we're tuning?
I don't have any questions, but I do have 2 comments from very early in the chat. One's from Huss Otters, and one is from Tom Chabowski, and they both say, "Long live the keytar," and "I love the keytar. What about the keytar?" So, Nick, have you ever played a keytar? I feel like that's something that you would have played at some point in your life.
You know,
What do you think?
I haven't.
Oh,
but
gosh.
It's like on the bucket list of things.
Yes.
Like, I feel like it's a must.
It is a must.
It'll be the next stage, I think.
Ooh.
I think when I get a keytar, it'll be like, you know, get married, have kids, get a keytar.
I love that. That's fantastic. Oh, man.
It's acting weird.
Another comment from the Puppet Head. Honestly, it's pretty neck and neck between a Gibson SG and a Mini Moog for me. Well, the Puppet Head, you can have both because we're musicians and we like gear.
Yeah. You got to have all of the gear.
Got to have all the gear. Or buy one of these synth pedals for your guitar, for your
Yeah.
Gibson SG, so you have the best of both worlds. How about that?
Absolutely. All right, Synth 9. Let's listen to this. This is the OBX setting. No dry signal, just the synth. I'll do the Prophet 5. Okay, here we go. This one's my favorite. And you need chorus, for sure. Little delay. There we go. Gotta get some Stranger Things vibes on here. Whoa. Jazz. I'll chalk that up to jazz. There we go. Feels very Blade Runner. Yeah, just super straightforward. It's like, here's a synth sound. That's it. Play it. Make it work. It sounds really great. It's a super cool pedal. I feel like this with like a volume pedal, some reverb, modulation, you could make some really patty, like really lay down some cool layers. What's cool about these two is it has the dry out. So you can actually, if you wanted to, you could send your synth, just the synth sound, to a completely different source. And that would allow you to just have like one input that's synth and one that's dry. And you could kind of play over top of that, which I always think is pretty cool. But, you know, if you're that kind of person, you're going to actually run more than one amp, which I know a few of those people.
Are you one of those people?
No, my dad is.
Oh, no way.
I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying.
Right. It sounds like you're throwing shade.
My dad has had like a wet, dry, wet, dry, dry, wet mix, like where it's like takes 3 hours to set up. But, you know, if you gotta have it, you gotta have it.
So for clarification,
yeah,
on that particular pedal, the names of each setting, are they synths? Am I understanding that right?
Yeah,
Like the Prophet.
The Prophet is. I think some of them are like. Some of them I think are like kind of like generic names of popular sounds, but like, yeah, that like the Prophet 5 is like a synth.
Nice.
So yeah, that one is cool. I think that's my
awesome.
favorite sound on here is the Prophet. There's a bunch of really cool stuff on here. Any other questions before we switch over?
None right now.
Cool.
Yep. Keep on. Oh, wait. I think you'll appreciate this. It's a comment. It's not a question. Cold Acre, shout out to you. He says, very tame Impala, Nick.
Oh. Well, you guys know I love Tame Impala all the time, every day. They're my favorite band. All right, this next one comes from the classic Line 6. This is the FM4 filter modeler. This is actually kind of interesting. I've never played this on guitar. I've only played this on drums, which is super weird. We did an episode called Guitar Pedals for Drums not too long ago. You can check that out. And I put this on the overheads or something. I did some weird, real funky sounds where it was like triggering the kick drum and making some weird not ambient, that wouldn't be the right word, some like bubbly noises underneath it. I don't know. It felt appropriate at the time, and I think I would do it again. Okay, so let's actually listen to this on guitar. This one I was playing through the other day, and I realized that one of the settings reminds me a lot of Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots Part 2 on the album by the Flaming Lips. Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. There's this weird, like, farty, bubbly thing that happens in the beginning. Let me see if I can recreate it. I think this is the sound. There we go. That was what I was talking about. Something like that. I feel like I was getting it better the other day. I kind of feel like the kid who landed a kickflip and like his friends don't believe him. Like, I did it. I promise I did it. I got that sound the other day. It's not doing it. But anyway, synth string is really cool. I actually have had, I actually have played these effects. Now that I think about it, I had the M9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it had a bunch of these on it.
Yeah.
And it had some pretty cool.
Yeah.
They had the synth. They had all those pedals in it. So it was pretty cool.
Line 6, I just have to say, somebody said, I'm ashamed. Don't make me want to buy more Line 6 stuff.
Don't be
like
ashamed.
The green. And that's why I said, listen, no one needs to be ashamed of Line 6. We all love it here at JHS.
Yeah.
And they make some of the most iconic things ever.
It's classic.
Classic.
You can't underestimate the power of the Line 6 4. Is it called the 4 series? Is it the 4 series?
I believe so.
I think that's what it's called. All right, let's listen
believe it is.
to the synth string sound. Do the attack synth. What I like about I just feel like the synth sound that they get, you can just hit one note and let it go and just mess with knobs, and it feels extremely satisfying. Yeah.
There it is.
I mean, bionic space frogs all day.
That's great.
It's like if Jimi Hendrix came back as a cyborg. Cyborg Jimi Hendrix.
That's the sound he'd make.
That's the sound he would make. I mean, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. And don't be ashamed of line 6. It's classic. Everybody had one. We got a question from the bulb here. Addison, hit me.
Yep, the bulb. This is a very important question. Bill Phillips Tube. Does Nick care about whether he has the boxes?
No, I don't. It's not an obsession that Josh and I share. But, you know, you got people who need the boxes and people who don't. Here's the thing. I will say the only reason why I get freaked out about boxes if I have to return it. That's the only reason. And that's not a really fun reason to care about having the box.
It's good
but
to know.
also, like, I don't have if maybe vintage things.
Oh, okay.
If it's new.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
It's not that exciting.
No.
Let's see. Let's do one more. And then maybe we'll see if there's any more questions, and then we'll call it a day. There were some tornado warnings around here, so we got to be careful.
I do have one little surprise coming in from from a place, I'll just say it, South Dakota. Josh is on vacation, for those who are wondering where Josh is. And he said, hey, we should give something away, guys, which we didn't plan on. But just so you know, we're
Yes.
going to give something away, so stick around for just a little while longer. We'll have a question. I have that question, and if you, the first one to answer it right, will get this pedal. And this pedal is the bonsai that is sitting on Nick's table. So just so you know, that's it.
Right here. You're gonna get it as soon as the camera angle changes. Here we go. That's it. This is gonna be whoever wins.
Whoever wins.
All right. Let's play this Ottobit by Meris, and then let's give away a bonsai. All right. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Meris is a really insanely amazing company. I love the way their stuff looks. I love the way it sounds, but it's one of those things where you kind of need to read the manual a little bit, which I am a very lazy pedal person. But this has some cool like sequencer stuff. If you hold this Alt button, each of these knobs turns into a different part of the sequence, and you can adjust each one, and it makes some cool, crazy sounds. So let's listen to that, and then we'll give away a bonsai, and then we'll go on our merry ways. Again, this is another pedal that has so many settings and so many crazy things that you could spend hours playing around with this. And to be honest, I'm barely scratching the surface because I barely know how to use it because it's so complicated, but in a good way. I mean that in a good way. And usually complicated is not my style, but this is complicated cool. So, Addison, let's give this pedal away. I'm going to... Oh, there we go. What's going on? Light bulb's going crazy.
Something big.
Something big.
This is our very last question, and then we'll move on to the giveaway. This is from a patron as well, Jorge Moreno. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Nick, if you could choose one of today's synth pedals for your board, which one would it be?
Oof. I would probably pick... maybe the SY1 or... Yeah, I think I would pick the SY1. I think it's like... I know immediately what I would do with it. I think there's so many of these really cool pedals, but off the top of my head, I think I would have to go with that. That's gut instinct. How about you, Addison? Which one would you pick?
Ooh. I liked, honestly, the MM4, and I've been hearing you mess with it this week, and so
Yeah.
I think I would pick that one. Just because it's capable of a lot of things, but some of the sounds that I've been hearing you create this week were super dope. So I think that's my choice.
Now that you're saying it, maybe that is the one that I want. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying that because you said it, but maybe I also want that one. I don't know.
The Boss or Line 6, you really can't go wrong.
You can't really go wrong.
No, not at all.
Awesome. So are we going to give this pedal away? Okay, we got a question here. The question to which the answer of this question will lead to the giving away of the bonsai pedal is
First one
to answer
in the chat.
in the chat.
That's it.
We got to establish the rules. Okay?
There's the rules.
We're going to do our very best to get this nailed down. But here's the question. Prepare yourselves. Get your fingers ready to type. What is the capital of South Dakota? I don't even know the answer to this question. Do we need to look up the answer to this question? We're all sitting here like, okay, somebody answer.
I wrote
Wait,
it down.
No one here knows what the capital of South Dakota is. Do we got it?
No one's
don't?
done it yet.
We should have waited. No one's has someone
Here
put
we
it in
go. We got it.
there? We got it?
We got it. Okay,
Announce our winner.
I'm gonna double check
Okay.
because last time I made an oopsie, but I purposely did something here. All right, we got it. Drazik Park, Pierre is the capital of South Dakota.
Pierre.
Congratulations, you have won a JHS bonsai. So do me a favor, email me, addison@jhspedals.com. It's ADDISON at jhspedals.com. I will look for your email, and we'll discuss this this giveaway and get one shipped off to you.
Well, congratulations for knowing the capital of a state that none of us knew. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if everybody got on Google real quick to look up that that fact. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Before we go, I got to do record time because we got to make that happen. So let's do some record. I got this record to do a record time during quarantine, and I didn't get to share it with you on the episode that we filmed. This is a band called Tennis. I think it's the coolest band name ever. Honestly, there's maybe like a handful of band names that are just cool by themselves. Other band names become cool because the band becomes cool. It's like Foo Fighters is kind of a dumb name, but because they're awesome, Foo Fighters is a cool band name. You know what I'm saying? David Grohl said that himself, okay? So I'm not dissing on their band name. I'm just saying.
You just used his full name.
David Grohl. Yeah. It feels like, it feels formal. Anyway, Tennis, coolest band name ever, coolest music ever. The lead vocalist, I think they're married. The drummer and the lead vocalist are married. Her voice is so cool. It's like Stevie Nicks meets like Tori Amos sometimes. It's incredible. The synthesizers are great. Their vibe is just incredible. You need to go check it out. If you've already listened to Tennis, let us know what you think about it, and your thoughts should be that it's awesome, because it is, and that's the truth. Before we go, a couple cool things. If you haven't checked out our Patreon, you should definitely check it out. There are videos that we put out every month that are long-form talks. They're pretty cool, and it's amazing. You can be part of our group there and have your questions answered promptly. And also on our website, we have launched this thing called Tone. Well, we didn't launch it. We did it with these people. It's not a people. Tonepedia. They have a website where basically they load in pedals and guitars, and you can mess around with the sounds that they make on this website. And you can see here that our Smiley pedal and some of our other fuzz pedals, you can literally go on a website and tweak the knobs and play around and listen to them without having to leave your house, which is really cool, especially right now. Also, I have my own YouTube channel called Nix Tapes, where I write and record music and make music videos and all kinds of fun stuff. If you want to listen to that, you can go over to Nix Tapes and check that out. Other than that, have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe. Congratulations to the winner of the bonsai, and we'll see you guys on Friday.